Hi, and welcome to Tim's Old School Perspectives. Today we'll be talking about, wait for it, the election. Yes, once again, that's going to be the highlight until such time as it's resolved. And according to Chuck Todd, it seems to already be resolved. According to the mainstream media, it already is a done deal. And the Georgia recount is really in the news right now. President Trump is not happy with this recount because they had announced that it was going to be a recount and an audit. But it's clearly not an audit. It's clearly just recounting the same fraudulent votes again, except this time by hand. Now, with any luck, even counting them by hand is going to reveal problems with their voting machines, but we can't really count on that. And the audit that didn't happen allows votes to stay in the piles that were put in by people that are dead, put in by people that are illegal, put in by people that moved across the state line the night before. So all these votes are going to just be recounted again. President Trump isn't happy about this. He shouldn't be happy about this. Now, according to the mainstream media, they would say it's going to be time for Republicans to give up, and that in fact Republicans will give up and just see this as, oh, well, Trump got what he wanted and it didn't work out. But they're missing a whole lot of facts. But first, let's just take a look at what Chuck Todd had to say.
How much more space do Republicans continue to give the president before they turn their focus to Joe Biden?
I think the Georgia hand recount or audit, however you want to classify it, is sort of the moment that will, I think, unofficially end this with many Republicans. Look, the president's getting what he wants, and when they see that nothing's going to change, and we'll have that answer by middle of next week, Wednesday, certification on Friday. If this is going on after that, then, Willie, we have to start looking at this as a constitutional crisis. But
okay, clearly he is delusional if he believes that Republicans are just going to go ahead and go on home. Republicans have never taken to the streets before in my lifetime, and yet they're in the streets by the hundreds of thousands in cities all over the nation, and they're crying against this whole election fraud that we can see as plain as day. There is obvious that there's glitches. We got glitches in the counting system, in the Dominion machines. They're claiming that these machines, of their own volition, just changed votes. But the problem is there is a software that's been installed in these machines that clearly make them want to cheat. They're giving a very bad nature. And so let's take a look at what NTD News has found about some of these glitches.
when that
Fluctuations in the voting numbers reported on election night can indicate otherwise. According to a Twitter post from a data scientist, Michigan counted almost 150,000 votes within 5 seconds, and less than 6,000 of them were for Trump. And Virginia's vote count was reduced by over 100,000 votes in the early hours of the morning. The data scientist also told us she found Wisconsin had an average count of 325 votes per second, while Washington hit a peak of over 130,000 vote counts per second. And in one video, what looks to be CNN's 2020 election coverage showed 20,000 votes in Pennsylvania being transferred from Trump to Biden. Other reported glitches have caused separate issues. Wisconsin.
Okay, so throughout the swing states, these glitches are a problem. The Dominion voting machines are a big problem. And this isn't just limited to one state. This is limited to every state that has Dominion machines. And so we have a big problem. But that's not the only big problem that we have. All over the country, we had big voter registration issues. People that are no longer living and probably haven't been living for many years seem to have been able to got up out of their graves and got some mail-in ballots and sent them back. Let's take a look at some of this.
The state of Michigan may have more registered voters in the 2020 election than its voting age population. That's as an analysis shows more than 10,000 deceased people have cast ballots in the state.
The state of Michigan is showing an incredibly high voter registration rate. That's according to calculations based on census and state voting data. The state's population is about 9.9 million as of July last year. An estimation of its 2020 population by World Population Review is just over 10 million. Census data shows that the state has just under 80% of its population over the age of 18. Unless the state's age group changed dramatically in less than a year, its voting age population should be around 7.8 million. But according to the state's Voter Information Center, there are over 8.1 million registered voters in the 2020 election. That makes the state's voter registration rate over 100%, indicating that there are about 240,000 more registered voters than the state's voting population. That hasn't taken into account that some of the population are immigrants who haven't been naturalized into U.S. citizens.
In Michigan, voter registration is very suspect because the population of the state just doesn't allow for the state to actually have as many registered voters as what it seems they had. And so this is a very, very big problem. You can see the math here. 29 states have problems with their voter registration. They have problems with too many people having registered. This record high turnout is really, really hard to believe. It's not hard to believe with Trump. He has adoring fans all over the country, and people showed out in the tens of thousands to see him. But anywhere Biden went, 5 people showed up. And yet, the 5 people that showed up seem to have turned into about 80 million as the votes got counted. And so it's really hard to believe. Biden is no rock star that he should pull in more votes than Obama or even Clinton or really anybody that has the breath of life in them. And so this is really, really strange. So 29 states have voter registrations that exceed 100%. This is a widespread problem, and I just don't think it can be denied.
A research by government watchdog Judicial Watch alleges that 353 U.S. counties in 29 states have their voter registration rates exceeding 100%. That's about 1.8 million more registered voters than eligible voting citizens. The study collected the most recent registration data posted online by the states themselves. Meanwhile, more than 10,000 people confirmed or suspected dead have returned their mail-in ballots to vote in Michigan. That's according to analysis of state election data. The analysis was provided by Big Data Poll to NTD's sister media, the Epoch Times.
All right, so 9,500 dead voters returned ballots. That's pretty amazing. So we know the dead have voted. We know the Dominion machines change votes over. We can see, how CNN on their vote total all of a sudden Biden had 20,000 more and Trump had 20,000 less. Well, it's one thing to have more, but how do you go backwards? How do you unvote for someone? It just doesn't work that way. It's obvious that there's big problems. Hopefully, let me just say this, that just even if this Georgia, so-called audit, which isn't an audit at all, Fulton County recounted their votes in less time than it would take to the IRS to do a tax audit on me. If they want to audit people, it takes a minute. You got to do a little bit of homework. You got to look at some things. They're not looking at anything. They're just getting piles of votes and they're counting them, regardless of where these votes come from. So this isn't an audit at all. So take heart and know that if Georgia falls, then it does. There's still other states that are being looked at. Trump's legal team believes that several states will be overturned, and I'm going to take them at their word that this is going to happen. But even if it don't, my support still goes behind President Trump, still goes behind the Republican Party, and I still have the belief that we'll turn the House in 2022, we'll keep the Senate, and conservatives will stay in charge of this country because I don't think that most people have the stomach for the riots and for the killing and for the problems that are going on in our streets. So with that all being said, have a great day and peace out.